If you're watching this on Restream, welcome. This is Domain to Profit. I'm Drew Wash, and watching live is the best way to watch. So if you are watching on Restream, I invite you to come back each Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we come together to do this show. So join me in the community that joins me each and every week, others that, just like you, use domain names, expiring domain names especially, as the opportunity to grow, to develop something, to build a business, to build a hobby, to build something that makes this life that we all get, this blessing of a life, more blessingful. That's a word. I'm going with that. Blessingful.com. I think that should be a thing. Well, as everybody starts to filter into the chat room and everything, make sure you're saying hi. Welcome others that are coming in. I'm Drew Wash's Domain to Profit. We're going to get right to it. See you on the other side. Maybe. Right now it's supposed to be going Domain to Profit, Domain to Profit.
From domain to profit, from a dot-com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
Oh my, I thought I was going to have to sing. Is everybody ready for me to sing? Because I'm not ready to sing. But I would have I wouldn't have. So, okay, let me get settled in here. I thought I had time to come down and just mellow into things. Ian, nice to see you. Nice to have you here. First commenter. You get the first commenter award of the day. Matt, thanks for not harassing me about being a minute late. And Chaz, welcome. Nice to have you with us live. I know you were mentioning that typically you got the kids. And John, nice to have you. Howdy. I'm a howdy guy too. I like saying howdy. That's just a thing. Michael, nice to have you. And Lee, I feel like I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Maybe I'm just hallucinating, but nice to have you. Hope married life is treating you well. And so on. And I chatted with Kimberly. Kimberly is usually in chat, and she's not able to get the chat to something's up with her YouTube. But Kimberly, nice to have you here, whether you're watching live or on Restream. Glad to have you. So we're here coming together, as we do each Monday, to look through expiring domain names, specifically GoDaddy expiring domain names this week. We always pretty much stick to GoDaddy ones, but why? Why do we go GoDaddy? Well, it's just where the most of them are. Will it always be like that? Probably not. Probably not. Somebody will come along and do as good of a job as GoDaddy, if not better, and we'll start talking about their domain names. Really what it comes down to is we're not loyal to a company. We're loyal to what it is that we're trying to do here. Find great domain names that we can develop and create a better life for ourselves, and hopefully through our development, a better life for the people that use it. Makes sense. Oh yeah, there we go. Thanks. Thank you, Matt. You're saving me here. Make sure that right up here up front, if you like Domain to Profit, make sure you like this video and subscribe. It is always very much helpful, and I do appreciate it. And I am really, really bad at self-promotion, if you don't know this by now. I do this to hang out with you and to talk about domain names, something that I really enjoy. So it's it's bittersweet. Okay. Well, let's go and change and share over to the screens. Boo, expired domains. Expireddomains.net. This is where we go. This is the free tool that you can use to follow along with me. Down here on the bottom, doop, you'll find the filters. So you can go to dtp.tv filters, and what it will do is show you everything that I have that goes into this link that I click right here, like GoDaddy, expired domains, and behind the scenes is taking hundreds of thousands of domain names, filtering them down to 97,000 domain names that meet our criteria, which are there going to be some stinkers still? Yes. The majority of them are still going to suck, but it got rid of hundreds of thousands of domain names that suck worse. That's a thing. It's a thing. Okay, so what we do next is click this valuation over here. We want to make sure that we bring the ones that are kind of rated with the valuation score the highest. I say it's valuation score because even though it says USD, that means nothing. It's not really a valuation of the domain name. It's fictional order by data. So at least that's what I'm going by. And since I'm the one on the TV screen, I win. You hear the horn? I heard a horn. Okay. So as you'll see, even though we went ahead and filtered all these domain names, you'll still see, like, what the hell's a Sambo? Is that a thing? I'm not going to look it up. I don't know what it is. Actually, let's look it up. We should look it up. Let's go to SpyFu, which is right over here. Let's see what Sambo, is that right? Sambo. I feel like when you type random words that you don't know about into search engines and stuff, it feels like you might be like getting yourself in trouble. Oh, I don't know what a Sambo is, but I feel like look at this. What does Sambo mean? Is little black Sambo racist? I feel like I'm really possibly walking on the edge of something here. I don't know what this is. There's good keywords, but for the sake of this show, I like to see advertisers. There's none. So rather than diving into whatever this is, I'm exiting. Hope that's okay. But whatever that is, the keywords and the people that like it, they brought it up to the top. It's currently going for over $6,000. I'll click on it here to bring you over to GoDaddy Auctions. This is not a PG-13 show. Sometimes we will see very adult domain names. I have no idea if that's one of them or not. I'm not Googling it because I've made that mistake way too many times. Type something into Google and it's like, woo, it's very adult. Okay. VR box, I'm guessing virtual reality box. Scrim, not sure what that is. So before I just was kind of like looking Flash Cash. That's not bad. Not a bad domain name. I know there's like Flash Cash loans or quick loans. Not something I'd ever care to deal with. I'm looking over here on the column over to the far right, and it looks like it's already going for $1,000-some. So pretty good domain. Can't sleep, maybe. So as you probably saw, I was clicking on this one prior to the show. I was trying to decide RussianVodka.com, ends in 6 days, currently $255. And the question I was wondering is this a more valuable domain name right now or less valuable? And if it's more valuable than what it typically would be, because of Russia being in the news and everybody being anti-Russian vodka and stuff, the question I had was, is that going to inflate the price or is that going to reduce it? So let's go back over to here. Here being spyfu.com, Russian vodka. I can't even spell Russian. I'm Russian. My typing and have typos. See what I did there? My daughter Ruth would be like, I saw what you did there. Okay, well, if you haven't used that this web address down here for the filters, make sure you grab that because I'm going to get that off the screen. So Russian vodka, a couple thousand searches a month. As you likely know, there's not going to be any advertisers for it. Alcohol, I do not believe you can even do alcohol ads online. I'm not entirely sure on that, but a lot of times there's no advertisers for cannabis, for medical stuff, for alcohol, for chiropractors, I think I saw. So they don't have advertisers due to various federal laws and things. Google's kind of like, hey, we're not going to deal with this. We're not going to play that whole, like, they don't want to lose their business over people advertising the wrong things. But that leaves openings for us as domain investors, especially when we have the domain name like russianvodka.com. We don't have to play the same games. I mean, our domain name says what's going to be on that domain name, and now we look for a sponsor, maybe somebody that's importing something. I don't necessarily have any skin in the game for Russian Vodka. I just thought it was an interesting domain name, and as you can see, quite some pretty good search volume. These keywords over here: best Russian vodka, boom, 1,200 other keywords. Russian vodka, a couple thousand, as we already see. Russian standard vodka, not sure what that is, but that's another couple, 2,700. How do Russians drink vodka? There's some content ideas over here. Those are content ideas. Those questions or opportunities for you to answer questions, maybe show videos, whatever it is, and have ideas for content for the domain name if you bought russianvodka.com. I don't know. I may bid on it if it's cheap. Cheap being a couple thousand searches. I would see this going for $2,000 or more. Cheap from, I'd say like $1,200. I'd probably bid up to. Yeah, but I'm going to move it on for there. Moving on. Office design. I missed that one. That one's actually a really good domain name, which shows up in the price tag. Over $2,000 currently. I would say I anticipate the searches for office design to be, I'm going to say 6,800. Who has the over or under on that? So I'm guessing 6,800 searches. Under, about half that. Office design, 3,300 monthly searches. 3 advertisers, which I was hoping for a bigger number here. And $4 per click is what they're looking for Google. I like to see double digits. I say that every week. Going to keep saying it every week because that's what we're looking for. Let's see what other keywords we have. We have home office design. Those are people that have a home office looking for kind of ways to probably save space and create an office in a small room or something. I don't know. I'm not really seeing much money, but if you like interior design, if you like setting up or creating unique ways, maybe this is for you. There you have the content ideas over here. You buy the domain name, maybe you create a blog and you're just giving ideas about how to have the best office design or win awards with your office decoration or cubicle decoration or something. All the above. So you can go the content path, go the way of content and then sell advertising on it. You can do a directory. One of the things I would love to see in these similar keywords right down the middle over here would be office designers or office design near me, something that would let us see that we can localize this. I'm not seeing that. Therefore, I would treat it probably more as a content type website, do what I could to get a directory. But long story short, it will get I'll go ahead and add it to my watch list. So what would I see on that one? Honestly, over $2,000 already, 3 days left. It's not going to be for me. Can't sleep. Human project, printer service, right? That's not bad. Printer service, we'll get going on that one. And yes, I agree. Russia vodka at an all-time low in value. Like, I think nobody's going to touch it with Russia. I have to think the Russian brand is pretty low right now. But thank you very much for looking that up. I was not willing to type that in. What is going on here, GoDaddy? There we go. Okay. But yeah, I wasn't going to type in Sambo. Grappling and wrestling. That's cool. That's cool. And yeah, here we go. Martial arts. So there you go. That's a pretty big domain name, especially if there's if Sambo's martial arts and if maybe there's Sambo schools, then you could do the localization of the directory, which I love to do that. Show Sambo schools near me, and you own Sambo.com. That's pretty big. It looks like printerservice.com is no longer available. And that does happen. It happens because essentially they probably renewed their domain name. Good for them. Good for them, bad for us. Media consultants, anybody passionate about that? I'm not. Mega Fitness. Number Finder, Auto Tribe, Your Builder. Anybody? I don't like the word your. You and your, I don't like it a domain name, because when the person types it, if I was to type, and I'm looking down here at the bottom of the list now in the middle of this here, I don't like your in a domain name, because in marketing, you write to you in your. So in marketing, it's part of headlines and stuff. If you've ever noticed that when you write a marketing headline, typically you type it to you or your. But when it comes to a domain name, because I think the typing of a domain name kind of creates personalization, it creates a little bit of ownership for the person that's typing it. When you type your, it's saying somebody else. And I like my stuff to be about me and my. So when I'm typing it, it's my builder versus your builder. It sounds like, does that make sense? It's kind of like a teeter-totter that your just doesn't fit with me in the marketing. I want to say, hey, we're your builder of choice. We're your hometown builder, something like that. That sounds great, but to have it in a domain name, I don't like you or your. That's personal preference. I'm sure I have some that are you or your, but in general, I think it's a pretty good rule of thumb that you and your are not good in domain names, because something happens when people start to type you or your. They're giving away. They're not taking ownership of whatever it is, and we want them to take ownership. Makes sense? Okay, let's see here. Matt is saying they put round rugs as Ron drugs. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Matt's bringing up a good point here in the domain names. I appreciate that. As always, you can kind of shout out what has happened here. So that's a good opportunity to kind of mention when you're looking at these, one of the filters we set up are English words, 1 to 3 words. So they're trying to guess at what words are part of these domain names. There's no database that kind of like specifies what a domain name is, which actually, kind of funny story. I think last year, therapist.com was available at auction. And I was kind of thinking I was going to go pretty heavy on that domain name until somebody pointed out that it was The Rapist. If you type it like it, The Rapist is therapist. I was like, oh, maybe I don't want that domain name. There you go. Funny story. Or not. They all can't be. So roundrugs.com. But that's one of the things you do have to keep in mind is if the domain name is proper cased poorly, you might be missing out on something good. We have seen that here pretty frequently. Look at this. After school being one word. That's a weird one too. After school clubs, actually. Let's check that out. Afterschoolclub.com. So going over to SpyFu. SpyFu is the tool that we use to look through keyword stuff. They do have a free version, so you can follow along with most of what we see here. After school, what was it, club? After school club? Yes. And let me click on the domain name. Let's see what it's going for, make sure it's still available. After School Club ends in 3 days, $20 currently. Because it's so low, do not bid. I highly recommend you wait. Although I do have a bad story to share with that, where I waited and then got distracted in the last 5 minutes of an auction yesterday on Easter and missed out on a domain name that I really wanted that I probably could have got for like $20. And somebody ended up getting a fabulous deal. So there's risk and reward of waiting. So I should have just bid and been done with it. Okay, After School Club, 3,900 monthly searches. I like that. No advertisers. Not sure why. Maybe, why would there be no advertisers? I mean, wouldn't After School Club, I'm possibly because the content might target kids and that gets weird when it comes to Google. Maybe, but I like it. Okay, here we go. Here's weird after school hypno sex club. What the hell's wrong? Anyhow, not sure what the hell that is. Okay, after school club, 3,900 searches. That's reasonable. After school dice club, after school clubs near me. Like, let's keep it wholesome. Buy this domain and do something wholesome with it. After school Satan club, a bunch of silly high schoolers or teenagers trying to do crazy stuff. Okay, well, there you go. There's your opportunity to do something wholesome for the youth of America or the world. Afterschoolclub.com, directory of clubs and activities. I could see that happening. Not sure what the profit model would be on it. You could go the long route, which would be to do content and show different various things that kids could do after school. And then maybe you could go the route of maybe somebody paying for featured ads or featured club memberships. Ooh, actually, how about this? I like this. So what if you pulled together afterschoolclub.com? You have, yes, a directory search of after-school clubs near me. You could show different things that are happening. But then you also provide some tools for those who run after-school clubs to handle rosters or something like that, to where they want to be involved in afterschoolclub.com, because not only is it a domain name, but it is a SaaS type thing. It's a SaaS, software as a service. So you provide some tools that help them run an after-school program. Therefore, they want to not only just pay you to show up on a great domain name, but they also get some tools. That's kind of what we do with towing.com, really. So maybe to work with After-School Club, After-School Club, School Club. I can't really think of a better domain name. After-School Clubs. Yeah, plural and singular do share some value. Probably worth something. So if you're into helping the youth have things to do after school, then there you go, afterschoolclub.com. I may bid on that one. I don't know, though. I feel like that one gets a little bit into areas that I don't know. I don't like all those keywords that I saw showing up next to it. So, yeah, that's exactly what it is. A bunch of middle schoolers just typing in crazy stuff. Yeah. And let me see here, just making sure I didn't miss something. I do miss things from time to time in chat. It scrolls pretty quick at times, and I can't keep up. I unfortunately have to go between windows. So I don't know if I mentioned it. Ooh, business bookkeeping. So I actually asked my wife a question. I saw this as a riddle. What English word has 3 double sets of letters in it? What English word? And the answer is bookkeeping or bookkeepers. There you go. So I asked her that the other day. I never got to give her the punchline. But businessbookkeeping.com, I would much rather have bookkeepers. I'd much rather have bookkeeping.com. But 3 days left, $12. Again, don't bid till 5 minutes, 10 seconds left on it. Let's see if people add business bookkeeping. Is that what it was? Business bookkeeping. So that is going to it's not getting that many searches. Bookkeeping for small business, hidden secrets, medium. Okay, there's a book named that. Small business bookkeeping services. There you go. So there's 4 keywords. There's 4. You could dominate this search with this domain name. So you can see this domain name, business bookkeeping, shows up in several different searches here. So there's some keyword volume behind it. And what's nice is our 2-word business bookkeeping domain name is made up in other searches that have more searches. So that gives you a good opportunity to create content on your domain name, on your website. Oh, okay. See, this is where it starts to get pretty good. So actually, one of the domain names I bought last week, which I'll share with you at the end, towards the end of the show, it had this exact same thing. I wasn't really all about it. It was kind of low volume wise, but the cost per clicks were through the roof, and the advertisers were really high. And it was kind of like, Well, that just changes the game when you see that kind of thing. Over 12 advertisers. So we see highly competitive, lots of advertisers willing to spend money. And right now they're all beating up on each other in Google, trying to get, enough clicks to make their business run. So that means that there's an opportunity for you or me or somebody to come along with businessbookkeeping.com, build out a directory showing business bookkeepers in your local area. And then instead of them paying Google, you come along like the white knight and say, hey, businessbookkeeping.com would love to have you on. You could join on, have a membership of our site, get some extra exposure, possibly have to pay Google less because we can help you get some business, possibly by the people typing in our domain name. But you got to leave gray area at the beginning. And for $20 a month, you can have your membership to the site, something like that. Implement Local Legion 300, and voila, maybe you can get your first 300 companies signed up, $20 a pop or something like that. Seems reasonable to me. I'm not seeing localization in these primary keywords here. Like there's nobody that's searching for business bookkeeping near me. What's this one? Oh, okay, there we go. It was there, 900 searches. So there's some business happening here. We see good money. We see good keyword volume. Over here, we see good keyword volume, very low here. That's worth, it's certainly worth going up to probably $800, $900 is where I would probably be for it. So there you go, businessbookkeeping.com. What are your thoughts? I like it. I like it well enough. So let me just take 1 minute real quick and just mention next week's show. I will be in Orlando. So it's going to be a travel remote show, which if you have not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow me over on Twitter. It's @DrewWash. Wash like wash your hands is where you'll find me over there. And I mention that because I'm thinking I might possibly do a live stream early in the day. So maybe like a 9 or a 10 a.m. live stream and possibly rebroadcast it at 3. I'm not sure because it's going to be a business trip that turns into a family trip. So I might want that afternoon to hang out with my family. So, but they might just go to the pool. I'm not sure. So make sure you subscribe. Otherwise, you might be left out. And if you want to watch live, you might not know about it. All right, just go with it. Just go with it. And I really like everybody joining me live. It's definitely the better way to go. Toner Finder. That sounds horrible. I worked at Office Max for many, many years. Like 7 years, I think I worked at Office Max. It was like I was a computer salesperson. Got a lot of sales experience, which was super awesome. But finding freaking toner for people, oh my gosh, it was painful. It was so horrible. People come in and be like, yes, I got an HP 952C, and you got to like go through this book and no, I wouldn't touch tonerfinder.com with a 10-foot pole. That sounds horrible. Should I tell you how I really feel? Toner is evil. And not to mention, I really dislike HP's business model anymore. Like sell the printer cheap and then get you hooked on toners. Could you imagine how many printers are out in the world discarded because of their business practices of trying to completely take as much money from you on a toner as possible? It's like $6 of ink inside of it, but they want to make $119 or something off you. Drives me nuts. Big business drives me nuts. You probably know this by now, but it's like, why can't they just like do stuff for us instead of against us? It's like, we're not the enemy, we're your customer. Anyhow, pet heads, that's kind of funny. Pet heads instead of pot heads. Wireless media, it probably sounds good, probably some keyword data. Seems boring though. Seems not, I don't know. Auto ratings, let's go check it out. Let's go check it out. I don't like it really all that much, but okay, good. I'm glad the keyword data backs me up because I really didn't want to talk about this one. Auto loan rates, and really nothing happening here. But I have to test myself sometimes because there's been times that I've wanted to pass on a domain name like that. Then we type it in and we see the keyword data is like through the roof, and it's like, well, I guess I got to talk about this now. Let's drop down here. Easy Helper. Not like it's a brand, like a pretty good brand name, maybe. Rentage. Is that an actual word or is? Okay. Yeah, it's nothing. That sounds like a good brand name. So if somebody's looking for something to build a brand on, Rentage sounds like a pretty good one. I'm not sure what keywords or words that, why is that showing up in the list? Natural gas generators. Man, I feel like we're starting to, these are all keywords. So obviously natural gas generators would be a product type domain name. I don't like product domain names all that much, but somebody has to do them, and we can certainly talk about them if that is you wanting to sell products. So natural gas generators, 540 searches for that. Singular is 6,400. So there's a decent amount. You got natural gas portable generator. So you can go after some of this keyword traffic here. Let's go check out. And this is what I was hoping for and what I figured. This is why we're on this domain name, even though it's a product. You know, you can't just win out all the time. You know, sometimes you got to adjust. So $1.36 per click. I like it to be $2 or more, but look at this, 19 people searching for generators. So what do we have? Do we have any localization? No, there's not, but you can do it. So how about you build out a directory of people that maybe sell them or install them, because natural gas generators are going to be something that you need to install in a home on the natural gas line and into their electric as well, most likely. So there'll be services that will likely be the ones that take care of this. I'm certainly not going to install a natural gas generator at my house. That would be something I would pay somebody else for. So you can list those services, do a service directory, implement the local Legion 300, get those 300 customers that locally do that. You could do a product search and product database for the products for sale. Basically, you can create a natural gas generator world and do something on it. I don't know. Although I'm thinking about it, it's like, wouldn't gas generator be a better domain? Because gas generator, although generator, so let's look at the alternatives, I guess, is what I'm saying. So 3 words is the max that we look at. We limit our filters to 3 words. So we have natural gas generators. That means alternatives we have are natural gas generator, that's singular. We have gas generators, gas generator, generators, and generator. So we have, 5, 6 different domain names all vying. That's why adding words sucks. So if you can get the domain name cheap, let's see what it's actually going for, because that might determine. So $12 currently, 6 days left. Based on the data, it's going to probably go for $600, maybe $800. Could go more if somebody's like really into it. But if you can get it for a couple $100 or something, probably worth buying and trying out as a early development. Maybe not. Travel time. Oh, for the show. Yeah, okay. I'm backed up. I'm backed up here. Yeah, Toner, sounds like Toner Finder would actually be useful, just a database of printers and affiliates and link to the correct toner. It would be. That this is a perfect opportunity to actually benefit somebody with a Toner Finder website. Collecting all that data and stuff might be a little bit of a pain in the butt. I can't imagine like HP has a API or something. Maybe they do, but you'd have to pull in the different places. You can pull it off, though. There probably are. You mentioned affiliates even. Affiliates probably are. There's probably some good affiliate programs for Toner. Why? Because they're so good at jacking up the profit margins, they leave some in there for you. I don't know. I'm anti-printers. I don't know. I'm working at Office Max for so long, I'm just like, oh, I got nothing. Oh, automate life. That sounds kind of horrible. I don't like that. Automate life. I don't want to automate my life. I want to live my life. Commercial intelligence, blocksmiths. That sounds like maybe that sounds like a pretty good brand for like blockchain stuff. Like, like blacksmiths make stuff out of metal, blocksmiths make stuff out of the blockchain. Let's see what that's going for. It's probably going for a fortune, blocksmith. So that's more of a brandable. I think it's fun. Could maybe do something with it, but passing up it. I got nothing. Words are hard today, evidently. Website mockup. We saw wireframes. I think wireframes.com went for big money last week. I think it just ended yesterday on Easter or maybe Saturday. I saw it go for well over $5,000, I believe. But website mockup would be like the baby brother to wireframes. Same kind of industry, ending in 4 days. So this would be a good place for you to kind of maybe sell templates or for a web design service. I don't know. I'm not really loving it, but it's an option. Certainly for what it is right now, it's cheap. Again, because it's cheap, hold off on bidding on it until late, unless you're like me and you're going to be distracted. And in that case, it's okay. It's just you're going to invite sharks into the waters for the auction. Easy HTML. Yeah. Yes, no, maybe so. Same shit, different day. It's what I don't know. I got nothing. Dutch Doll, Concrete Shield. So anybody down in Orlando? Any Orlando people? Audio's okay. Try turning it up. Yeah, you got to unmute. Yeah, and it happens to me all the time. How they always do they make you unmute anymore. Luckily, especially nowadays, it seems I got the audio stuff taken care of. Unless a battery has died, I see they are getting low, but I think we'll make it till 4 o'clock before they die. Music and joy, not digging it. And funds. Okay. Got through the first page of domain names. I'm going to move on to the second page. We're going to stay right there, and all we're doing is going to the next page. So we've went through 200 different domain names. We got websitemockup.com. Talked briefly about that one. Blocksmith, that was more of a fun one just for brandable. Natural gas generators, anybody out there looking for a product type thing? Survivalist maybe. Then we got business bookkeeping. Again, a lot of these are longer domain names. I don't like the long ones all that much, but they could be opportunities for you to find something on the lower side price-wise. And some of these have pretty good keyword volume. We got the afterschoolclub.com, which I think would be a good for SaaS. Office design, over a couple $1,000. RussianVodka.com, Russian vodka, which actually that's a good question. Russian vodka? I think it's the correct way to say that. It wouldn't be Russia vodka. Then Sambo, the martial arts, evidently is what that is. Over $6,000, 1 day left on that one. That's what we found so far on page one. So there's some pretty good domain names. We're not finding, I don't think, what's the home run? What home run do we have so far? I think Sambo, which didn't even know what that was. That one's probably my favorite so far, but it's also going for the most money. Not something I'm going to go diving into this week. Sometimes I'll go after that stuff, which actually, let's take a break. Let's go over to GoDaddy, and let me refresh this, and I'll show you the domain names that I did win and did not win this week. So the domain names that I won, let me see. I bought fleetfriend.com. That one was one of the buyouts. It was a closeout one. I like logistic domain names. It was $40, so I grabbed it. So the one that I bought this week, I think I said it was, I'd probably say $1,600 to $1,800. Ended up getting it for $1,500, which was onlinehomeschool.com. Wasn't entirely sure on that one, but I was in it, and everybody else bailed before it got to my max, so I'll take it. And that one, if you recall back when we were talking about SpyFu, that domain name is one that I wasn't all that sold on it, but then when we started to look at the values, the number of advertisers was very high and the cost per click was very high. So even though the volume of keyword search was pretty low, it's very competitive, which I like those kinds of scenarios, especially if you can get them for somewhat cheap. $1,500 is a lot of money to spend on a domain name, especially if you're kind of new to this. I could see why there's anxiety, but essentially because there's people spending money to target it already, it puts you in a really good position. So would I recommend you grab a domain name like onlinehomeschool.com with high competition, high cost per click, but lower call volume? Would I recommend that versus a super duper like high click volume, but lower amounts and low competition? They'd probably go for the same amount of money. I would go with online homeschool, especially for your first project. The workload would be less. You got to work harder to target more competitive keywords. So what didn't I win? Tell me about it. So safetyrating.com, that wasn't, I think I showed it on the show, but it wasn't really something that there's not really a business model for it. As the owner of towing.com, I thought it would be a good domain name for showing vehicle safety rating. I thought it tied in well with towing.com. So I was second bidder on that one, but ended up losing because I wasn't going above $3,000 for a project domain name, but the buyer did. Congratulations. Socially Awkward, I don't think I was not in the final runnings for it, but I believe I was up to $1,200 on that one, but did not win. I'm the king of Socially Awkward, so there you go. So those are the wins and losses for the week. Share in the chat if you have not. I'm curious, what did you win? What did you go for over on the domain name auctions? I just saw my green screen was all not looking great on some things. So, but I'm curious as to which ones you got. And hopefully I wasn't bidding against you, especially if you see a domain name that I talk about on the show. Feel free to DM me on Twitter. I'll let you know my max bid, and you can let me know your max. Like, we can chat. I don't see any harm in it. It doesn't change my bid. So what it can do is kind of let us know if we need to get out of each other's way. Yeah, I agree. Sambo.com is the home run for sure. And Darcy, aren't you the MMA guy? Like you're big into the MMA. I think if I recall, that was you. So yeah, I could see Sambo being especially of interest to you. So let us know if you're going to go for it or whatnot. That would be awesome. Okay, back to the domain names. Let's see what we can get. Clicking all kinds of stuff here. College Sportsbook. That's probably not a bad domain name anymore. There for a while, I don't think you were allowed to gamble on college sports, but I believe you can now. And let's check this out. I'm actually surprised it's so cheap so far. Okay, so 6 days left on this auction. I would highly recommend not booking or not bidding until others have bid. once a cat's out of the bag and people start to bid on it, college sports book. So it's a middle S, but I think, okay. So sports book is one of the terms that people use for gambling. I wonder if they don't track it because it's interesting. Okay, well, I don't really know much about online gambling or anything like that, admittedly, but it could be a good domain name. I have no data to back it up, so let's just move on. So there you go. Secure campus, cities, convention. You know, I've always wanted somebody to build a great website that shows different events and seminars and conferences, because I never know how to find out about conferences and stuff, and I love going to conferences and stuff. I've never found one. If you know a good website for it, let me know. Unfortunately, it's always me spending time on Google looking for stuff or word of mouth. But come on, it's the internet age, peeps. We got to be able to come up with something better. Computer suppliers, soft mailer, gourmet dips. You know what? Let's check that out. I better go copy and paste this, otherwise I'm going to spell it wrong. So here's why I'm searching for gourmet dips. Gourmet dips sounds very mailable. So one of the reasons I don't like products is they're very expensive to ship. They're very expensive to deal with the logistics of. Could you imagine portable gas or natural gas generators? I mean, those things probably come on pallets. You know, the shipping and stuff's going to be expensive and just crazy. It makes my head hurt. But gourmet dips, different chip dips and things for your parties and things, maybe those fundraiser dips that kids sell every holiday season. Not really seeing anybody searching for them. And the reason why is, realistically, we all know the damn kids are going to sell them every freaking holiday season, so we don't need to go searching for them ourselves. That's what I'm going with. Okay, 6 advertisers, 40 cents per click. Not really happening with it. Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. I liked it, though. I liked it for a brief moment. Natural gas generator. Hey, so that means what? We had the singular and the plural, right? Is that correct? Okay, that is. So we saw, in fact, I like that enough that I'm going to have to make sure that we keep an eye on that. I did not like natural gas generator because if you remember, we went through the various versions of the words, right? We saw that there's 5 or 6 variations of natural gas generators, different domain names that could target the same arena. Well, if you can get both of them, then you're kind of in a better place. Then you don't have to really worry about the singular or plural. You just redirect them to the same place, and now you are the king of natural gas generators or generator.com. Like you own them both. The same play that we do, I say play, it sounds weird, but let me show you kind of, I don't know if I've ever shown this. One of the things that we do with towing.com, domain names play a major part of how we do towing. Like when I say that, like when I say I'm towing.com, it's not just towing.com. We very much believe domain names provide an advantage to these small businesses. So look, these are not all of, these are many of the different domain names here that we have purchased because we are trying to narrow down and make sure that no matter what you're searching for, no matter what keyword you're looking for, you're finding our database of towing companies. So we're over 30 different domain names. So same kind of play is what you're looking at with natural gas generators. You start with maybe the 1 or 2 domain names, and then you can work into more and more expensive domain names until maybe you will someday be generators.com or generator.com or both. But you'll see that that's kind of what we've done here is We own towingcompany.com, towingcompanies.com, towing.com, heavyduty.com, like all these variations of domain names, sometimes just changing an S at the end. And so it's just one of the ways that you can bring more value with your domain name. Certainly something to kind of consider. And that seems to be what's happening here at the natural gas generator. It's you're paying twice the cost for essentially one domain name. But the value of a domain name, it splits. Like the value of any given keyword splits over all the domain names that can target that keyword. So the more you own, the more you can dominate a specific industry. Dominate. What is it? Anyhow, there you go. So, yes, I figured, I thought that was you. I couldn't remember. I got all the Twitter peeps, and then it's hard to keep it all together, but college sports romance books, top keyword. Yes, that's, he threw the touchdown pass in the big game, and when he came out of the locker, I embraced him. Or oh man, what's in this coffee today? Yes, I agree, Chaz. We need to put this together. So Coaster G, looking for a good maker convention. I consider myself a maker, and that's one of the things I love about Chaz, a maker as well. What is a maker? It's people that tinker, that experiment, that build stuff, 3D printing and electronics, So, but yeah, I agree. I'm looking for one of those as well. So, again, it's hard to find those things. Okay, back to some domain names for one or two more page downs. Pet care store, skipping it. Sports footwear, that's really a formal way to say that. And if it feels formal, nobody's searching for it, or very few people are searching for it. But let's go check it out, just because, again, this is an opportunity to, my gut tells me one thing, but the data might say something different. Nope, data backs me up. Little advertisers, little keyword. So it should go for pretty cheap if you wanted to. Maybe you're into shoes. I know a lot of people are. The domain name's not great, but at least it's a domain name that people are kind of searching for. There might be some authority. There might be some of that validation. So if I go back to, let me share out the white screen. So remember this here. When we build out our domain name, we're kind of looking for this, the authority, the validation. Sports footwear might have some of that authority or validation that you could pass on, or that you gain when you own that domain name. It's not setting any records. I don't really like it all that terribly much. But that doesn't mean much. Like, I nowadays, so don't let my judgment about a domain name, there's still value there. There is authority, there is validation that can happen with it. Even though the numbers are low, that might result in the domain name selling for low. So if you can get it for $200 or less or something, that's a really good beachhead type domain name. So a domain name that, like natural gas generators or generator, like, they're long domain names. They're not the domain name that you would love to have, but they at least allow you to enter an industry with a little bit of authority and validation from your domain name. It's much better than trying to just build something out of thin air and build your own authority and validation. So just because it's not a home run doesn't mean it's not a start. Browse guard. Isquality.com. Feels like a Boolean check when you're programming. Is. So just speaking of browsers, like, I tweeted about it, and does anybody else notice that, like, when you type into a browser now, it always tries to do a keyword search, even if you're typing in a domain name that you've typed in 1,000 different times? It's like the freaking greedy ass Google and Microsoft, like they also they can get a couple more clicks and stuff. Not just a couple more. I'm sure they make millions and millions of dollars off it, but it's like they're literally making it harder for me to get to what I want to get to. Like, that's just insane. Have anybody else experienced that or noticed that? I don't, I'm just a little, what's one that we just, college. So if you look, like, even though we went, that's in another tab, they're showing all these different keywords up here, which all of them will show, of course, show ads and things like that. But even we have name bio, so that's up there. How many times do I probably have a dozen different domain names that I type in that start with name, but they're only showing me that one on top because it's already an open tab. All of these, it's infuriating. Like, shouldn't businesses be out to actually help their customers and not just profit from them? Anyhow, I really dislike big business. Somebody was sitting in a conference room and it'd be annoying as shit when people type stuff into the browser, but we'd make another $100 million if we just force them to go to a keyword page and then click on the website they want from there. As a domain person, it really especially frustrates me because it's they're bypassing domain names into their results. It's exhausting to see how greedy big business can be. It just absolutely it's not making it everybody's always, we're all so angry. People are frustrated so much more nowadays than what they used to be. And it's because of stuff like that. Now I have to spend 15 seconds to get to something that should take me 2 seconds. And that stuff adds up. And I'm a diehard capitalist, but there's a point where you have to remember that we're here to benefit people, not we're here to make people's lives better, not just make money. Okay. Visual Reports is what I'm looking up, visualreports.com. Kind of like that one. Although it's not showing up really all that great. No advertisers, no cost per click, very few keywords. Visual Reports, I do like. As a visual person, it kind of called to me, but $12 currently, 5 days left, but no real volume, no advertisers, so it's pretty much a brand. Okay. Well, my rant brought us down through a couple pages. Let me look at this last one. Another natural gas news. I mean, somebody let their natural gas portfolio go away. Okay. Well, let me do a summary real quick. So while I'm at it, make sure you have liked and subscribed to the video if you've seen any great domain names this week. I will be in Orlando next week. The show will go on at 3 p.m. Not sure if it'll be live or pre-recorded. Stay tuned to my Twitter account. So Visual Reports, I'm getting rid of that one. That was a no. Sports Footwear, again, kind of a beachhead type domain name, something that might get you started in footwear, but not a great domain name. Just has a little bit of authority and stuff. $65 currently, ends tomorrow. If you can get it for a couple $100, then maybe it's a great one for you. I personally consider about $700 and lower to be just kind of throwaway money when it comes to domain names. Not because I have so much money, but because I value these domain names so much that if it's worth bidding on at all, it's probably worth bidding a few $100s on, which I know that probably makes anybody that bids against me hate me, but it's also why let me know if there's something that you want me to avoid, because sometimes you can get them cheaper, and I don't want to bid against somebody that's going, if you're going to develop the domain name, then I will 100% step out of your way. Natural gas generators and natural gas generator, both of those end in 6 days. So those two together are a couple that we saw. Gourmetdips.com, if you're into cooking, want to send dips around the world. The keyword volume and advertising rate, horrible, but gourmetdips.com is a great brand if you're into dips. Again, college sportsbook, not great. Did not really see much of anything happening with that. Website mockup. I like the domain name, ends in 4 days. If you're a developer, build templates, anything like that, that's worth checking out. Business bookkeeping and the others, we summarized those a little bit earlier. So there we go. I like them. I like some of those domain names. Let me check back in on chat before I kind of wrap things up. Yeah, I agree. We had some good ones. I felt like I had to work really hard to find them though this time. They weren't just like popping up in the top. Whew. God, making me work today. Yeah, and that natural gas, that one goes. We saw that one right there at the end. It's like somebody was letting their natural gas things go, their domain names going. So, and I'm going to hopefully enjoy my my Orlando trip. We'll see. There won't be any Disney or anything, but hopefully there'll be some sunshine. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio right now, and it was freaking snowing like crazy this morning. I mean, it's springtime. It was like 70 something the other day. It's going to be 80 later on in this week here, and it was snowing this morning. It's like drives me nuts. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. I appreciate you all. We're all the best kinds of people. Those who don't just take a domain name, like trying to make profit, like to sell it or whatever. We're developers. We take domain names, develop them to make the world better, not just for us, but for others, but for us also. Yeah. So thanks for joining me. See you at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week, right here on Domain to Profit. Take care.